When we hear the word angel, the mind often forms a picture of a winged figure dressed in white, descending from the heavens with light spilling from their form. This image has been carried through centuries of art, religion, and storytelling. But to stop at that image is to miss the deeper meaning. Angels are not simply figures from myth or religion. They are an expression of something far more universal. The presence of guidance, the whisper of wisdom, the unseen hands that turn us away from harm when we least expect it. An angel, in its truest sense, is not bound by shape or form. It may not have wings. It may not speak in the language of the tongue. It may appear as a moment of sudden clarity when confusion has been your constant companion. It may appear as an instinct, a quiet pull to turn left instead of right, to stop walking just before a danger crosses your path. It may even come as a person who enters your life for a brief moment, says the exact words you need to hear, and then disappears without asking for recognition or gratitude. In the stillness of meditation, one learns that an angel is not merely something external. It is a frequency, a vibration, a point of connection between the physical self and the unseen order of the universe. The ancient masters understood this well. They did not wait for winged messengers to arrive from the skies. They cultivated the inner clarity to recognize the presence of angels in the wind, in the rustle of leaves, in the feeling that you are exactly where you are meant to be, even if you do not understand why. The meaning of angels is therefore not limited to a spiritual or religious frame. It is an invitation to understand life as a dialogue between you and something greater, between your will and the will of the universe. In that dialogue, angels are the interpreters. They bridge the gap between your limited understanding and the limitless intelligence that moves the stars and tides. They are not here to control your steps, but to remind you of the direction when you are lost. If you wish to see angels, you must first learn the language they speak. This language is not made of words. It is made of attention. The modern mind is so busy chasing noise that it forgets to listen. Angels cannot be heard above the clamor of constant distraction. They speak in moments of silence, the pause between breaths, the instant before you act on a thought, the quiet just before sleep when the world seems to hold its breath. If you cannot hear the silence, you will not hear them. In the ancient teachings, it was said that angels reside in the spaces between actions. This means they are not a constant visible presence, but appear in the precise moment when their presence is needed. They do not crowd you with answers. They offer a sign, subtle enough to pass unnoticed if your eyes are close to it. And so many walk through life surrounded by angels yet feel alone. The presence is there, but the awareness is absent. Consider the wind invisible, yet you see its movement in the bending of trees and the rippling of water. Angels are much the same. They cannot be grasped by the hand, yet their effects can be felt in the shifts they bring into your life. A sudden opportunity after months of struggle. A person you meet in a chance encounter who changes your perspective. A message you come across at the exact time you need it. None of these are accidents, though they may appear so. These are the movements of angels, not bound by space and time as you understand them, but working within the patterns of both to reach you. To live aware of angels is to live aware of connection. You begin to see that nothing in your life stands alone. Every event is tied to another. Every encounter is a crossing of paths woven long before you arrived there. Angels are part of that weaving, adjusting the threads so that the fabric holds together when it threatens to tear. This is why many who walk a path of awareness feel guided even through their hardest trials. They know that beyond the pain or confusion, there is an intelligence moving in ways they cannot yet comprehend. But awareness comes with responsibility. If you believe in angels only as saviors, you will wait for rescue and never grow. The true meaning of angels is not to live for you, but to live with you. They respond not to idle wishes, but to movement. The old saying tells us, when you take one step toward the heavens take 10 toward you. Angels are the ones who take those 10 steps, but only after you have begun walking. They are not a replacement for your will. They are a companion to it. And so, the meaning of angels deepens beyond protection alone. They are also reminders of your own higher nature. Just as they exist between the visible and invisible, so too do you. You are not only a body. You are not only a collection of thoughts. You are a meeting point of matter and spirit. When you act from truth, when your thoughts align with compassion, When your choices move toward what is just and good, you create the conditions for angels to draw closer. Your life becomes a place they are drawn to because the frequency you emit resonates with theirs. This is why, in many traditions, it is said that angels walk with those who walk in truth. It is not that they abandon the dishonest or the selfish, but the discord makes their presence harder to feel. Just as a clear lake reflects the sky more perfectly than a disturbed one, so does a calm, sincere heart reflect the presence of angels more vividly than one clouded with anger or deceit. The clearer your inner state, the more easily their guidance can reach you. Thus, to understand angels is to understand relationship between yourself and the unseen, between the actions you take and the responses you invite from the universe. It is to accept that the world is layered, and that not all forces in your life can be seen or explained with logic alone. Some must be felt, trusted, and acknowledged in silence. For in the silence, the presence becomes real. In the stillness, the guidance is heard. In the openness of your awareness, the angels are known. There are moments in life when, without any announcement, you find yourself held by something unseen. It is not a wall, not a cage, and yet it surrounds you completely. This is the silent circle. It is a space created not by human hands, but by presence, a field of stillness that protects, guides, and strengthens without ever declaring its existence. The silent circle is not made of sound, yet it communicates. It does not require movement, yet it responds to yours. Imagine standing in the center of a vast, empty plain. The wind moves, the clouds shift, but there is a boundary you cannot see, and inside that boundary, there is peace. You are aware that something keeps the chaos outside from touching you directly, but you cannot describe it. This is how the silent circle exists, as a subtle, almost invisible layer between you and the noise of the world. In the ancient traditions, the silent circle was not spoken of as a physical shield, but as a field of energy woven from intention and awareness. It forms around those whose inner state has reached a certain level of clarity. Just as a flame draws warmth around itself, a person in deep alignment with truth and purpose naturally gathers a space of stillness around them. The circle is not created through force, it is born from the state of being itself. Within the silent circle, the noise of the outer world does not disappear, but it loses its power to disturb. You can still see and hear the chaos beyond, but it arrives as an echo, not as a direct impact. This allows the mind to remain calm even when storms rage nearby. It is the difference between being in the middle of the ocean with waves breaking over you and being on the shore watching the same waves crash from a safe distance. The force exists, but you are not engulfed by it. The silent circle also has a second nature. It is not only a barrier that protects, but a field that attracts. Those who move with pure intention and disciplined awareness draw towards themselves forces and beings aligned with those qualities. Whether we call them angels, guides, or simply energies of a higher order, they are drawn to the stillness because it offers them a place to work. Just as birds will not land in a turbulent wind, higher energies will not remain in a mind filled with agitation. The silent circle becomes a landing ground for unseen help. To enter such a circle is not a matter of building walls. In fact, any attempt to guard yourself with fear will only tighten the mind and create more openings for disturbance. The silent circle emerges naturally when fear is released and replaced with awareness. It is made from attention that is steady, from thoughts that are uncluttered, from a heart that is not at war with itself. This is why meditation, contemplation, and disciplined living are spoken of as the keys to protection. They do not merely change how you feel. They change the field you live in. One of the qualities of the silent circle is its invisibility. This is both its strength and its mystery. You cannot point to it or measure it, yet its effects are felt. Situations that might once have drawn you into conflict pass by without demanding your reaction. People who might have drained your energy or pulled you into negativity suddenly find no way to reach you. Events that could have thrown you into fear instead meet with a calm, unshaken presence. This is not because the world outside has changed, but because the circle has altered the way you stand within it. The silent circle is also silent because it does not announce what it is doing. It works without recognition, without the need for you to name it. You may never be aware of how many storms have been diverted before reaching you, how many unseen dangers have been turned aside. in the same way that a tree silently purifies the air without telling you it is doing so, the silent circle guards without seeking thanks. This humility is part of its nature. It is also worth understanding that the silent circle is not rigid. It breathes with you. When your awareness is sharp, it becomes strong and wide. When your attention drifts into fear, anger, or confusion, it can narrow, allowing disturbances to slip through. This is why the discipline of returning to clarity again and again is essential. The circle is not a one-time creation. It is a living space shaped moment by your state of mind. There is an old saying, "The strongest warrior is one who fights without fighting." The silent circle embodies this principle. It does not attack threats, it makes them lose interest. It does not resist force with force, it lets the force pass around it. This is why those who carry the silent circle are often underestimated. They do not appear aggressive, yet they remain untouched by the turmoil that breaks others. The protection lies in the absence of invitation to conflict. When you stand in the silent circle, you also begin to notice something else, the presence of others within it. Sometimes there are people in your life who carry their own stillness and meet yours in harmony. Other times, there are forces you cannot see but whose guidance becomes more obvious over time. Their presence is not loud, it is a quiet reassurance, like the way sunlight warms your skin without demanding your attention. You begin to understand that protection is not always about walls. It is about companions, seen and unseen, who share the space of calm with you. In the world beyond the circle, noise will always exist. It will shout, it will demand, it will try to draw you out. The test is whether you step beyond the boundary or remain within. The circle cannot be forced upon you. It is sustained only by your choice to remain in alignment. It will not hold if you abandon the stillness that created it. This is why in moments of temptation or anger, the first thing to protect is not your reputation or your possessions, but your center. For when the center is stable, the circle remains intact. The silent circle, then, is not a rare gift given to a chosen few. It is the natural state of a mind that has found its balance and a heart that beats without conflict. It is always available, though seldom recognized. Those who come to understand it no longer need to chase safety, for safety moves with them. They no longer plead for guidance stands beside them. They no longer fear the chaos of the outer world, for they have learned where their true shelter lies. Everything in existence carries a vibration. Whether it is the movement of the stars across the sky or the quiet beat of your own heart, there is a frequency to it, a rhythm, a tone that silently radiates into the space around it. This vibration does not stop at the surface of your skin. It travels outward, carried by thought, by intention, by the subtle movements of emotion. And in this way, your energy becomes a call. It announces to the unseen world who you are in this moment, what you are aligned with, and what you are prepared to receive. Energy does not lie. Words can be arranged to disguise intentions, actions can be rehearsed to give a false impression, but the vibration you carry cannot be faked. It is an unfiltered reflection of your inner state, and it speaks continuously, whether you are aware of it or not. Every thought, every feeling, every breath adds something to the signal you are sending out. The universe does not respond to the stories you tell yourself, it responds to the energy you emit. When people speak of attracting guidance, protection, or opportunity, they often imagine that these things are summoned only by deliberate requests or focused prayers. But the call is not made in a single moment of asking. It is made in the ongoing state of being. If your days are filled with doubt, fear, and resentment, then even if you speak words of hope, the deeper frequency you radiate will carry the opposite message. Likewise, when your inner state is calm, open, and directed toward truth, you call to yourself forces and allies that move in harmony with that state. The idea that energy acts as a call is not new. In the old traditions, it was said that the outer world is a mirror of the inner one. To change what comes to you, you must change what you are sending out. This is why those who have cultivated deep self-awareness seem to move through life with a different rhythm. Opportunities appear for them without the struggle others face, and help arrives for them in moments when others would feel abandoned. It is not because they are more fortunate, but because their energy is already calling what they need toward them. Think of sound. A certain note will cause a glass to vibrate in resonance even if no one touches it. The frequency of the note matches something within the glass, and the response happens naturally. Your energy works the same way. Whatever matches your vibration will feel drawn toward you. Whatever does not match will feel repelled. If you wish for higher guidance, clarity, or protection, you must first create within yourself a frequency that such things recognize and are drawn to. Energy as a call also works in ways that are often subtle. You may not notice the forces answering you because they do not always arrive in obvious forms. A sudden intuition to avoid a certain road, a delay that keeps you from being in the wrong place at the wrong time, a chance meeting with someone who speaks words you needed to hear. All of these can be responses to the signal you have been sending. But to recognize these responses, you must learn to listen not just with your ears, but with your whole awareness. In many cases, people believe they are calling for one thing while their energy is broadcasting another. Someone might ask for peace but carry a restless heart, or seek abundance while dwelling constantly on thoughts of lack. The universe responds to the deeper call, not the surface request. This is why self-mastery begins not with trying to control the outside world, but with shaping the energy you carry. You become conscious of the thoughts you repeat, the emotions you feed, and the patterns you reinforce. Over time, these form the tone of your signal. There is also a responsibility in understanding that your energy is always calling. If you know that your vibration draws toward you what matches it, then you cannot pretend that what arrives in your life is entirely random. Each event, each encounter, carries some reflection of what you have been radiating. This does not mean every difficulty is your fault, but it does mean that your inner state plays a role in what has the permission to enter your space. When you see life in this way, you stop waiting for chance and start shaping your own signal with intention. Energy as a call is not only about what you attract, but also about what you repel. A steady, clear frequency does not easily allow distortion to enter. Just as a clean, strong light is hard to hide under shadows, a mind and heart in harmony are difficult for chaos to penetrate. In this way, your energy becomes a silent guardian, turning away what does not belong without you ever needing to confront it directly. The protection is not in force, but in resonance. What cannot match your vibration simply cannot remain near you. To refine the call you are sending, you must become deeply familiar with yourself, not just with your surface desires, but with the truth beneath them. Meditation, mindful movement, and deliberate reflection are ways to tune into the frequency you are currently broadcasting. You notice whether your thoughts carry sharpness or softness, whether your emotions pull you into contraction or expansion. Over time, you learn that you can shift these qualities, just as a musician can adjust the strings of an instrument until the sound is clear. This work is not about pretending to feel what you do not. False positivity creates a distorted call, one that confuses both you and the forces that might respond. True alignment comes from facing your current state honestly, accepting it fully, and then choosing the direction you wish to move in. As you do this, the energy you send out becomes steady, and the answers you receive become clearer. The call of your energy is also shaped by your actions. It is not only the emotions you feel or the thoughts you hold, but the choices you make each day that strengthen or weaken your signal. Acts of integrity, moments of generosity, and steps taken toward your purpose all refine your vibration. Every action is like a note in a song, and over time the song becomes unmistakable to those who are listening for it. When you begin to live with the awareness that your energy is always speaking, you start to take greater care with what you carry inside. You realize that even in solitude, you are in conversation with the universe. Every moment is a transmission, and every transmission is a call that will, in time, be answered. There is a tendency to think of angels as something entirely separate from ourselves. Beings that belong to another realm, stepping into our world only when needed, then vanishing into a place beyond sight. Yet the deeper truth is that the first angel you will ever meet is the one that lives within you. This inner angel is not a figure with wings, not a voice that shouts over the noise of life, but a constant, quiet presence that has been with you since the beginning. The inner angel is the part of you that remembers who you are when the world tries to make you forget. It is the still, unwavering center that does not bend to fear, does not get lost in confusion, and does not disappear even when your outer life feels broken. No matter how many mistakes you make or how many times you lose your way, this presence waits patiently for you to listen again. It does not force itself upon you, but it never leaves. To recognize the inner angel, you must first understand that it is not created by any single action or belief. It is not something you earn as a reward for being good, nor something that abandons you when you fall short. It exists as part of your being, like the heart that beats in your chest. The challenge is not to summon it, but to remember it, to remove the noise and distractions that keep you from hearing its guidance. This angel within speaks in a language that is softer than the voice of the mind. The mind speaks quickly, always ready with opinions, judgments, and worries. The inner angel speaks slowly, often without words at all. Its messages are more like impressions, a feeling of rightness when you are aligned, or a gentle resistance when you are not. If you have ever walked away from a choice that did not feel right, even though it looked good on the surface, you have heard the whisper of this angel. In many traditions, this inner presence is described as the higher self, the soul, or the true nature. The name is not important. What matters is the relationship you have with it. Just as any relationship requires time, attention, and trust to deepen, so does your connection to the inner angel. You cannot expect it to guide you clearly if you only turn to it in moments of crisis. It is always there, but your ability to hear it depends on the strength of your attention. The inner angel is also the guardian of your integrity. It is the one that reminds you of what you stand for when compromise tempts you, the one that urges you to choose truth even when it costs you something. This is why listening to it often feels difficult. It does not promise the easiest path, but the right one. And yet, even when you ignore its guidance, it does not punish you. It waits, knowing that every detour eventually leads back to the same lessons. In the quiet moments of life, walking alone at dawn, sitting in stillness before the day begins, watching the night sky, the voice of the inner angel becomes clearer. These moments strip away the constant demands of the world, leaving space for its presence to be felt. It is not that the angel is louder in these moments, but that you have finally quieted enough to notice it. The strength of the inner angel comes from its ability to see beyond the present moment. The mind is tied to the immediate. What is happening now? What has just happened? What might happen next? The inner angel sees the longer path, the way one choice connects to the next, the way even hardship can lead to growth if faced with awareness. This is why its guidance sometimes goes against what the mind thinks is logical. It knows that short-term discomfort can lead to long-term clarity, while short-term comfort can lead to long-term loss. There are times when the inner angel is the only thing keeping you from collapsing under the weight of the world. In these moments, you may feel a sudden strength that seems to appear from nowhere, a small flame of determination that refuses to go out. This is the angel within you holding its ground, refusing to let you forget your own capacity to endure. It does not need recognition for this work. It is enough for it to know that you are still standing. Just as the presence of angels outside yourself is drawn to certain states of being, the inner angel thrives when your life is lived in alignment. Every act of kindness, every moment of honesty, every decision made from a place of clarity strengthens your connection to it. These choices act like an invitation, clearing away the static that clouds its voice. Over time, you begin to realize that this inner presence is not just a guide. It is also the truest expression of who you are. The inner angel is also a mirror. When you are lost in fear, it reflects courage back to you. When you are tangled in anger, it offers patience. When you are drowning in doubt, it shows you the steady ground that still exists beneath your feet. This reflection does not come from outside, it rises from the deepest part of yourself, the part untouched by the changing circumstances of life. You may not always like what the inner angel shows you. Sometimes it will ask you to confront truths you have been avoiding, or to let go of things you have been clinging to for comfort. But even in its hardest lessons, it does not act out of judgment. Its guidance is rooted in the understanding that you are capable of more than you currently believe. Over time, you may begin to see that the inner angel is not separate from the angels you imagine surrounding you. It is the bridge between the visible and the invisible, the part of you that understands both the human and the eternal. When you learn to trust it, you also learn to trust the larger order of life. When you learn to follow it, you find that the guidance you once thought was outside of you has been within you all along. The inner angel does not fade with age or experience. It is as present in a child taking their first steps as it is in an elder reflecting on a lifetime of choices. What changes is not the angel, but the clarity of your connection to it. The more you live with awareness, the more easily you recognize its voice among the countless others in your mind. And the more you act on its guidance, the more you realize that it has never once been wrong about who you truly are. There is a way of moving through life that does not rely solely on what the eyes can see or the hands can touch. It is the way of walking with the invisible, carrying within you the awareness that there are presences, patterns, and forces shaping your path, even when no proof is visible. This is not the same as blind faith, for blind faith ignores the world in front of you. Walking with the invisible sees the world clearly, yet understands that the visible is only the surface. When you walk with the invisible, every step carries a second meaning. There is the step your body takes on the ground, and there is the step your spirit takes through the unseen currents that flow all around you. These currents cannot be measured by tools, but they can be felt in the way certain moments arrive with a sense of inevitability, in the way certain doors open with no effort, while others remain closed no matter how hard you knock. You begin to notice that your life is not moving in isolation. It is in conversation with something vast and silent. This way of living begins with awareness. Most people move through life believing that only the tangible is real. They rely entirely on what they can verify through the senses, and as a result, they are constantly surprised when life takes a turn they could not predict. To walk with the invisible is to know that there is always more happening than you can detect. It is to step with the quiet expectation that unseen companions and unseen forces are working alongside you, guiding you through both the clear skies and the storms. Sometimes the invisible makes itself known in obvious ways. A dream that feels more like a message than a random image. An encounter with a stranger whose words answer a question you have not spoken aloud, a sudden shift in direction that leads you exactly where you need to be. Other times, its presence is so subtle that you will only recognize it much later when you look back and see how carefully the pieces of your path were arranged. Walking with the invisible means you no longer dismiss these moments as accidents. You treat them as part of the language through which the unseen speaks. It is important to understand that walking with the invisible is not about surrendering all control of your life. You still choose your actions, still bear the responsibility of your decisions. The difference is that you do not walk alone. You remain open to adjustments, ready to listen when the path shifts beneath your feet. You understand that guidance can arrive in any form. Through people, through events, through the movement of your own intuition, and that it will rarely come in the way you expect. To walk this way requires a certain humility. The mind likes to believe it can understand and control everything. It prefers clear maps and fixed routes. But the invisible does not work according to such rigid plans. It reveals only what you are ready to see, and often it will lead you through uncertainty to prepare you for what lies ahead. This is why those who walk with the invisible learn to be comfortable with not knowing. They do not rush to fill the silence with answers. They let the silence speak in its own time. The invisible also teaches patience. In the visible world, it is easy to measure progress by what you can see and touch. But when you are working with forces beyond sight, much of the progress happens beneath the surface. Seeds are planted in quiet moments, and only later will their growth become obvious. You may feel as if nothing is happening, yet in truth, the path ahead is being cleared in ways you cannot yet perceive. Walking with the invisible means trusting that your steps matter, even when the results are not immediate. There is a deep sense of companionship in this way of living. Even in solitude, you no longer feel entirely alone. The presence that walks with you is not always one you can describe, but it is there, in the calm that comes over you in moments of fear, in the subtle encouragement you feel when you are about to give up, in the quiet alignment you sense when your actions are in harmony with something greater than yourself. Walking with the invisible changes the way you respond to life's challenges. When difficulties arise, you do not only see the obstacle, you also search for the unseen movement behind it. You begin to ask different questions. Not only, how do I get through this? But what is this trying to teach me? And what is being moved into place beyond my sight? This shift in perspective allows you to meet hardship without the same level of panic or resistance. For you know that the visible moment is part of a larger design. The invisible is not always gentle. Sometimes it will remove something from your life before you are ready to let go. Sometimes it will close doors you were determined to open. These moments can feel like loss or rejection, but when you walk with the invisible, you begin to understand that absence is also a form of guidance. The path must be cleared of what does not belong before what is meant for you can arrive. To walk in this way, you must cultivate the skill of listening without demanding. The invisible rarely shouts. It works in hints, in feelings, in patterns that repeat until you notice them. The more you quiet the noise of constant thought, the more you will sense its movements. Practices such as meditation, slow and mindful walking, or simply sitting in stillness without distraction can sharpen your ability to perceive these subtle signals. In time, walking with the invisible becomes less about seeking extraordinary signs and more about living with constant receptivity. You begin to see that the invisible is present in every moment, in the rhythm of your breath, in the way sunlight moves across a room, in the way a thought arrives without warning. It is not a separate realm you visit, it is the unseen layer of the world you already live in. And when you move through life with this awareness, the ordinary becomes charged with meaning. Every step, every choice, every meeting becomes part of a conversation you are having with forces that cannot be named but can be felt. You walk knowing that even when you cannot see the next turn in the road, something walks beside you, guiding each movement with a precision that no map could match. There is a certain ease that appears in life when the inner self and the outer world move in harmony. This is not the ease of a life without effort, but the ease of steps that match the rhythm of the path beneath them. Alignment is not simply about getting what you want. It is about becoming so attuned to the deeper patterns of existence that your thoughts, actions, and intentions naturally flow in the direction life is already moving. When this happens, struggle takes on a different meaning and progress feels less like forcing and more like unfolding. The gift of alignment begins with self-awareness. Many people live disconnected from their own thoughts and emotions, pulled in different directions by conflicting desires and habits. They may try to pursue goals, but if their intentions are scattered or their actions contradict their deeper truth, the effort feels heavy, as if they are moving against an invisible current. Alignment is what happens when that inner current and the outer current flow together. It is the moment when what you think, what you feel, and what you do are all moving toward the same point. To reach this state, clarity is essential. You must first know what matters to you beyond the surface wants that change with each passing mood. Clarity does not come from chasing every desire. It comes from stripping away what is not essential. In the same way that a musician tunes their instrument before they play, you must tune your life to the frequency of your deeper purpose. Without this tuning, the notes you play will not harmonize with the larger song life is trying to create through you. When alignment is present, choices become simpler. This is not because life becomes free of challenges, but because the options that match your true direction are easier to recognize. There is less hesitation, less second guessing. Opportunities that are right for you feel light, even if they require effort. Those that are wrong feel heavy, even if they promise reward. The gift here is that you no longer need to exhaust yourself chasing everything. You learn to trust that what belongs in your life will find its way to you when you are moving in alignment, and what does not belong will drift away. Alignment also changes the way you experience time. When your actions match your inner truth, moments seem to expand. You are not constantly rushing to the next thing or regretting the last. Instead, you become fully present in what you are doing, and in that presence, the quality of your experience deepens. Work no longer feels like a burden when it is in service of your purpose. Rest no longer feels like avoidance when it is in service of balance. Even waiting becomes easier because you trust that you are not stalled, you are ripening. One of the most profound aspects of alignment is the way it influences the people and situations that come into your life. When your energy is coherent, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions match, you send out a signal that is clear and unmistakable. Those who are moving in a similar direction are drawn to you, while those whose paths are not aligned naturally drift away. This is not something you have to force. Just as two rivers moving in parallel may merge without effort, So two aligned lives find each other without struggle. In the absence of alignment, life often feels like resistance. You may find yourself in constant conflict with circumstances or trapped in cycles of trying to fix problems that keep returning. This is like rowing upstream. Every bit of progress requires exhausting effort. Alignment is like turning your boat to move with the current. You still steer, you still take action, but the force of life itself helps carry you forward. The gift is not that the current changes for you, but that you have learned to move with it. The path to alignment often requires letting go of things you once clung to tightly. This can mean releasing outdated goals, relationships that no longer support your growth, or ways of thinking that once served you but now keep you small. These releases are rarely comfortable, but they are necessary. Carrying what no longer belongs is like trying to run while holding a heavy stone. Your steps may still move forward, but the weight slows your progress. The more you set down what is not aligned, the lighter and clearer your movement becomes. Another gift of alignment is the peace it brings to decision-making. When you are uncertain of your direction, choices can be overwhelming. Every option feels like a gamble. Every step carries the fear of making the wrong move. In alignment, decisions are guided by a deeper knowing. You may not be able to explain logically why a certain path feels right, but the sense of rightness is unmistakable. This is not impulsive guessing, it is the recognition that your inner compass and the path ahead are pointing in the same direction. Living in alignment also builds resilience. Because your actions are grounded in your truth, setbacks no longer feel like complete derailments. Instead, they are understood as part of the larger flow, moments to adjust your course rather than reasons to abandon it. This perspective allows you to move through challenges with steadiness, knowing that alignment is not lost through difficulty, but through forgetting who you are and what you stand for. The gift is not only in what alignment brings to you, but in what it allows you to give. When you are aligned, your presence has a different quality. People can feel it, even if they cannot explain it. Your words carry weight because they are backed by coherence. Your actions inspire trust because they match your intentions. You become a source of stability for those around you, not because you have all the answers, but because you are anchored in your own truth. Alignment does not mean perfection. It does not mean that every moment will feel effortless or that you will never be pulled off course. It means that you have a way to return to yourself, no matter how far you wander. It is a relationship between the inner and outer worlds that allows you to navigate both with a sense of unity rather than division. The gift lies in the understanding that when the two move together, life itself becomes the ally, and each step, no matter how small, is a step that carries you further along the path meant for you.